Hello, we are speaking with Rhonda Crespin, who is one of the participating artists in the Santera Images of Faith and Folklore that is being exhibited at the Harwood Museum. This exhibition is co-curated by Gustavo Victor Goller and Harwood curator Nicole Ashley Dial-Kay. So how are you, Rhonda?
Oh, I'm just fine. Great to be talking to you.
Yeah, likewise. It's always a pleasure. Tell me, where were you raised and where do you live now?
I was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I spent some time when I was very young in Chicago while my father was going to school on a GI Bill. Then we came back to New Mexico. Mostly I grew up in Albuquerque. And right now I live in Jemez Springs in the Jemez Mountains, New Mexico.
Good. How long have you been there?
At least 15, 16 years.
Well, that's fairly recent. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many years would you say you've been an artist, and how did you become an artist?
I think I was born an artist. My father was an artist. My uncles were artists. I mentioned we lived in Chicago when my father went to school on the GI Bill, and that was art school. He went to 2 different art schools there. So I've always been exposed to art and artists, and I think it's in the genes too.
Right. So who was really your influence, or who has influenced your artwork sort of initially, and how was it influenced?
Well, of course, my father, although he didn't do traditional artwork, and then my uncle, Ted Crespin, he passed away in 1980. He was a tinsmith, and he entered into Spanish market. And he saw a Santa I carved for my mom. She liked folk art Santas. And I thought, well, I can't afford one, but I'll make her one. And then he told me, you should make Santos instead of Santas. So that's kind of how it started. So I started re-looking at the old Santos because it was always there, but I just, never really paid much attention. So.
Right. Do you consider yourself more of a carver or more of a painter? And do you sometimes explore different mediums and techniques in the cultural arts of New Mexico?
I consider myself more of a carver, a sculptor. I like to paint also, and I have done more contemporary work because there's always ideas coming to me, and some are not so traditional, but I still needed to express them.
So as far as your materials are concerned, are you a traditionalist? Do you crush your own pigments, make your own varnishes, or do you, just use watercolors and
Well, I think a little of both. I use what's available. I've had times where I just would experiment because this is what I have. I wonder how this will work, I think the old Santeros, that's what they did also, just what was available, and I would make paints and I still use aspen wood. I live up here in the mountains, so when I get firewood, I get my aspen also that I like to carve.
when you do get your aspen, do you let it cure? Do you let it sit around for a while once you chop it to sort of let it settle, or?
Well, when I get them usually cut in 5-foot lengths, no more than maybe 11, 12 inches in diameter, like a viga. Mm-hmm. And then right away I've got to peel the bark off, and then it's a good 3 years of just letting them dry. Sometimes I have them sitting around the house too. I just got vigas standing around.
Do you split it, or do you just leave it in the round?
It depends on what I'm doing. Usually I'll split it in half.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it'll be quartered depending on how big.
Right.
And then some aspen, as you get like if you have the whole tree, it's even thinner towards the top. And some pieces, depending on how round it is, I'll just use the one whole piece.
Wow.
If it's like maybe 6 inches diameter or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you describe your work a little bit, or in your thought process? How do you come up with your ideas? Do you use sketches and then you create your image, or does the wood just come to you?
Well, everything inspires me, and then I like to look at books. I love artwork. I love anything that has to do with faith in artwork, and then I'll draw sketches. And I'll just sometimes just bits and pieces of ideas that I'll sketch down, and I'll put it together with other elements, and I come up with something new. But
Nice.
basically, the saints, I'm interested in the saints.
Right. Do you, is that something that comes to you like in a dream, or are you doing research with saints, or I know there's some that you probably like more than others, but how do you come about your decision?
I do a little research, and faith is real important to me. I read the Bible every day, and it's always, all this stuff is always around me, and I think of things, and I just will start researching a saint if it's one I haven't heard of before, and just from there, and I'll do sketches and just
Nice.
Cool. I keep a little sketch pad with me all the time, because there's always something, I'll be driving along into Albuquerque. It's, it takes about an hour and a half, and I'll be thinking of things, and it's like right away I got to write it down or I'll forget it.
Right. We all do that now at our ages these days.
Yeah. Or I'm having coffee in the morning, and I'll just have my coffee quietly, and I'll sketch up some ideas that just come to mind.
Yeah.
I've never had a block.
Right.
I've never had a creative block ever. I've had it bottleneck, and I've learned over the years how to take it one at a time. So
too many ideas.
Yeah.
Do you have any memorable projects or awards that are important to you?
The projects that are most important to me are the ones that, like Santos, I might have done or restored, where they're actually being used in churches, in ceremony or whatever. So those are the most important. I restored a Jesus, a baby Jesus, at the Jemez Pueblo, at the request of one of the priests there, because they have a shrine for him every Christmas time, and the people will go like a pilgrimage with the frajalitos and go to see the baby Jesus, and it's an honor.
Yeah.
But they kiss his nose and they kiss his toes, and this is, it's like 150 years old, and they've kissed it off, so I had to redo it. And the one funny thing about that is the Jemez people insisted that the baby Jesus have blonde hair and blue eyes,
right.
Which you wouldn't expect that, but that's the way they see Jesus. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Do you consider yourself a santera or an artist, or both, maybe?
Both. I think both. When I'm doing my Santos work, that's what I do, but I do a lot of other stuff, and it's artistic. It's still artwork, but right. It might not. I might not necessarily be faith work.
So then, lastly, is there anything else you would like to say about your work or yourself or this exhibition?
I think I'm very honored to be in this exhibition, and I think the biggest thing to an artist or a santera is having people appreciate it. I mean, it means nothing to express yourself or talk like you're by yourself talking and nobody's receiving it. You have to have somebody receiving that and appreciating it, and I hope I reach some people.
Nice. That's beautiful. That concludes our interview, and so thank you so much for not only participating in the show, but been willing to be interviewed. I think you have a great story. So.
Oh, well, thank you. And yes, I really appreciate it. And thank you. Thank everyone involved. And I'm very honored to be a part of it.